from a man who lives in a gold house.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
No, it's
Think of it. Every day he says something that, well, it doesn't shock me anymore. It doesn't shock me anymore.
No, it doesn't.
After the first 1,000 crazy things he said.
Yeah.
Imagine waking up every day and thinking, what kind of absurdity will Trump give us today? That is the twisted beauty of Donald Trump. He is the only man alive who can turn a global crisis into a punchline just by opening his mouth. And guess what? That punchline just got sharper, thanks to none other than Ricky Gervais, the man who treats political correctness like it owes him money. Ricky did not just take shots at Trump. He launched a full-blown comedy missile, aimed right at the heart of Mar-a-Lago. This is not your average celebrity roast. This is Ricky going full savage. No filter, no apologies. From the moment he stepped on stage with that signature devilish smirk, you could feel the tension crackling in the air like static before a lightning strike. And Trump, oh, he never saw it coming. Because Ricky is not just another loud-mouthed, liberal poking fun. He is the type who will torch the entire building just to roast one man in the front row. And when that man is Trump, the joke practically writes itself. This is not just a comedian taking the mick. This is a master arsonist lighting the match.
This is a man who had to be helped down the stairs, right? This is a man who was scared of a tame eagle. So this is not a brave man.
But he believes it, though, doesn't he? That's the weird.
I don't know if he
thing.
does.
Do you not just...
I think he's got that childlike narcissism that he sort of, if he says it, it sort of might be true. But
Yeah.
I think there's a bit of troll about him.
And there's no one in his life to tell him that he's being a wazzock.
He's never had to
does that?
do or achieve anything in his life.
Let us talk about the moment Ricky opened his mouth, because what came out was not just a joke. It was a full-blown verbal carpet bombing. He mocked Trump's laughable claims about heroism. That ridiculous comment where Trump said he would have run into a school shooting even without a weapon. Ricky compared it to a child saying they could fight a lion. The audience lost it, and Trump, the man who cannot even hold an umbrella for his own son. This is the same guy claiming he would save other people's children under gunfire. The hypocrisy was so loud it echoed through the walls of whatever gold-encrusted bunker Trump was sulking in. Ricky painted him like a cartoon character drawn by a blindfolded toddler, oversized suits, spray-tan disaster, hands like tic-tacs, and still, that was just Ricky warming up. Every punchline was aimed directly at Trump's ego, and it landed with surgical precision. The crowd howled, social media caught fire, and in that moment, it was clear this was not just a roast. This was character demolition. Ricky was not doing stand-up. He was doing political assassination, and the weapon was laughter.
I just sold an apartment for $15 million to somebody from China.
Ooh, you're hard showing off.
I have a total net worth, and now with the increase, it'll be well over $10 billion. But here, a total net worth of $8 billion. Net worth, not assets, not liability, a net worth. I'm not doing that to brag, because you know what? I don't have to brag. I don't have to, believe it or not.
Bullshit. You're talking bullshit.
I think I am a nice person. People that know me like me.
But here is what sets Ricky apart. He does not just land a joke and move on. He lingers, he digs, and he keeps hitting until the target is rubble. This was not about making people laugh. This was about exposing Trump as a walking contradiction. A man who projects strength while being terrified of birds. Ricky reminded everyone of that infamous clip, Trump literally flinching at a tame eagle. How do you go from claiming to storm into danger, unarmed, to being shaken by a bird trained to pose for calendars? The man is not brave, he is theatrical. Ricky called it what it was, childlike narcissism. Trump says things hoping they will become true just by saying them loud enough. That is not confidence, that is delusion. And Ricky, he broke it down, piece by piece, pulling the curtain back on the whole Trump persona. No one in Trump's life dares to correct him. He lives in a world without reality checks. And Ricky just issued one on live television in the form of relentless, roaring mockery. The fallout was immediate, because if there is one thing we know about Trump, it is that he cannot take a joke, especially when it cuts this deep.
First of all, I can't get enough of him. I started off thinking it was quite funny, and then it got a bit serious. And now I don't know whether to want him to get in for the fun of it or not. Yeah. I mean, I can say that I don't live here, so sorry about that, but I think it would be... But I love him. I just want to see a channel 24/7, just him talking, because it's amazing.
For cue the meltdown, The moment the clips went viral, Trump retreated to his favorite battlefield, Truth Social, and launched a tantrum worthy of a rejected American Idol contestant. Ricky Gervais is a washed-up failure, never funny. Desperate for attention, he screamed in all caps, as if volume could change reality. But here is the twist. Every insult Trump hurls only proves Ricky's point. Every defensive rant, every poorly punctuated post, every typo-laced rant is comedy gold. Trump cannot resist. He is addicted to being the center of attention, even when it is ridicule. Ricky did not backpedal. He mocked the reaction. Oh no, he tweeted, "The big baby is mad. Someone check if he has enough Diet Coke." And boom, another viral explosion. Ricky was not just punching down or punching up. He was throwing comedic Molotovs at the whole Trump circus. And while Trump's fans rushed to defend their Orange King, the rest of the internet was busy choking on laughter. This was not just a moment, it was a full-blown humiliation. Ricky had turned Trump into a meme, and the man who hates being laughed at the most was now the punchline of the year.
But I think, what if we just told him he got in?
Okay.
And
Okay.
yeah, so he gets up every day, right, and he does a little address, and we go, "Yes, brilliant! I was the president hybrid," and they're all extras.
The speed at which the internet caught fire was almost biblical. Twitter, TikTok, YouTube, everywhere you looked, there was Ricky's face mid-roast, Trump's reactions playing in slow motion, and a tidal wave of memes flooding in. Late-night shows had a field day. Colbert turned it into a segment. John Oliver added gasoline to the flames. Fallon, usually tame, dropped a jab so unexpected even his writers looked surprised. It became clear that Ricky had not just rattled Trump, he had united comedy around him. And what made it worse for Trump? Ricky was not even in America when the chaos erupted. He was somewhere across the pond, sipping tea and scrolling through chaos like a general watching his plan unfold perfectly. Trump may have thought he could win with insults and bluster, but Ricky was not playing that game. He was playing chess with a flamethrower, and Trump, he was outmatched, outclassed, and outgunned by a man who had been roasting world leaders since before Trump figured out how hashtags work. This was not politics anymore, it was theater, and Ricky had just stolen the whole show.
They're all extras, and he just never knows. He was never president.
And we're filming it and
We're
watching
filming
it.
Yeah, exactly. That'd be amazing.
Oh, that'd be
wouldn't it?
amazing.
I think he'd be up for it.
I bet he would.
Yeah.
Trump has always believed he is untouchable, that his money, fame, and base of supporters would shield him from mockery. But Ricky tore through that illusion like it was tissue paper. This is the man who stood at the Golden Globes and called Hollywood out to their faces. The man who looked billionaires in the eye and said, "You're not better than anyone else." Ricky does not play by PR rules, and that is what makes him dangerous to someone like Trump. You cannot cancel someone who does not care. You cannot shame someone who leans into the fire. Trump thrives on control of his narrative, of his image, of the crowd. But Ricky snatched that control and lit it on fire for entertainment. Trump became a puppet in Ricky's act, dancing on cue, ranting right on schedule. Every reaction made it worse. Every Truth Social post turned Ricky's bit into a masterpiece. And while Trump scrambled to claw back dignity, Ricky was writing his next monologue, turning tantrums into applause lines. This was not about comedy anymore. This was about exposing just how fragile the strongman image really is, and Ricky shattered it with a smirk.
Eva Longoria and America Ferrera aren't just beautiful, talented actresses. They're also two people who your future president, Donald Trump, can't wait to deport.
Comedians have always feasted on Trump, but Ricky took it to another level. While others joked about Trump's hair or his spelling, Ricky attacked the core, the ego, the delusions, the desperate need for validation, and that is the Achilles heel. Trump can ignore political critique, he can dodge scandals, but ridicule, that is the kryptonite. Ricky nailed him as the only man who could be the most powerful in the world and still act like a sulking child online. And the crowd, they loved it, because mocking Trump is not just funny, it is therapeutic. It gives people a moment to laugh at the madness, to feel a sliver of control in a world Trump tries to dominate with fear and bombast. Ricky gave that to them, and Trump, he gave Ricky material. It is the cycle that never ends. Every insult Trump throws becomes Ricky's next punchline. Every outburst fuels the next sketch. And Trump, obsessed with being the center of attention, cannot help but feed the flames. This is not just a joke battle. This is a loop, and Ricky is driving it. Trump is trapped in a roast he can never win, and the world is watching.
Even bother commenting on that tweet the other day where he said, if I had, even if that terrible shooting, I'd probably have gotten in there even if I didn't have a weapon. That's what a 10-year-old says. I could beat up a lion. I could fight a lion if I had to.
In a fair fight, or my dad could.
Yeah.
My dad could wrestle a lion.
Exactly.
So,
Well,
and then there was that picture of him with his own kid. He wouldn't even use his umbrella. He was walking
Brilliant.
up the aeroplane steps with an
know.
umbrella over his head, and his kid's getting rained on. But this is the man that would go in to protect other people's.
By now, even Melania's silence had become part of the comedy, while Trump flailed publicly. She was nowhere to be seen. No half-hearted defense. No awkward tweet. Nothing. It was as if she had taken Ricky's side simply by ghosting her husband. And the silence. It screamed. Ricky did not even have to say anything. The internet filled in the blanks. Memes of Melania Googling how to disappear without a trace. Flooded timelines. Ricky just smiled and let the chaos do the work. This is the brilliance of his style. He ignites the fire, then steps back and watches the explosion. Trump still thinks he is fighting a one-on-one battle. He does not realize he is in a stadium full of people cheering every punch Ricky lands. This was not some throwaway joke. It was the opening scene of a long-running comedy saga. Trump turned. A 5-minute bit into a 5-week war. And Ricky, he brought popcorn. Every time Trump thinks he is getting the last word, Ricky drops another tweet, another jab, another viral clip. This is not over. It never will be, because Trump cannot let it go. And Ricky, he never stops swinging.
Well, you wouldn't even have to tell him, right? You would just say...
No, not yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe a year in, you'd say, here's the thing, it's been fake, but the ratings are huge. And he'd go, very good, I'll keep doing it, I'll keep doing it.
Trump's biggest weakness is that he does not know when to shut up. Ricky knew this. He played it like a violin every time Trump hit back on Truth Social. Ricky fired off a new line that was even sharper than the last. Did I upset the big man again? He tweeted, followed by, someone make sure he has enough Diet Coke before he types in all caps again. Boom, viral. But here is the kicker. Ricky does not even have to try hard. Trump supplies the material, the misspellings, the rage posts, the dramatic victim act. It is ready-made comedy. Ricky just decorates it, and each time Trump reacts, it validates Ricky's joke. It is like watching a cat chase a laser pointer, except the cat is wearing a red tie and screaming about witch hunts. Ricky had the whole internet on his side. Everyone from teenagers on TikTok to aging comedians on Facebook jumped in. It became a cultural moment, a collective roast, and Trump, he was the only one taking it seriously, while Ricky leaned back. Cool as ever, Trump kept spinning out, turning what could have died in a day into a flaming spectacle of self-sabotage.
This is a man who's, people fell for him because he was a good businessman. Well, actually, someone looked at it, right, and they worked out that if he'd have just put his acquired, inherited wealth on the top 50 stocks, he'd be $6 billion richer than he is. So he's effectively lost money over his...
There was a libel. Someone said he's not a real billionaire. He sued them and lost.
Of course, came the classic Trump denial routine, pretending he had never even heard of Ricky Gervais. This despite the fact that he had tweeted about him at least 10 times in one day. It is like being hit by a bus and then claiming you have never seen public transport. Trump called Ricky irrelevant, unfunny, and desperate. Meanwhile, the internet could not get enough. Late-night shows replayed Ricky's jokes on loop. TikTokers remixed his roast into dance tracks. Memes flooded every social platform. But Trump, he was locked in a loop of embarrassment, screaming into a void while Ricky poured another drink and watched the chaos unfold. This was not just about jokes anymore. This was about ego warfare. And Ricky was winning by simply not caring. Trump wants control. Ricky wants mayhem. And that is why Trump will always lose. Because every tweet, every tantrum, every desperate nobody watches him line just proves Ricky right. The man who cannot stop watching is the same one insisting no one else's, and that is comedy gold. Trump is not just the target of the joke. He is the engine that keeps the whole thing running.
Does that not tell you everything you need to know about Donald Trump?
Oh. I wasn't political till about 6 months ago. I wasn't interested in politics.
Really?
But now I'm just fascinated. Let's not talk about him, though.
That's fine. Let's talk about you. You're more interesting.
I'm not. It's just...
At this point, even Trump's biggest defenders were running out of steam. Fox News went into overdrive, spinning Ricky's roast as a national crisis. He is mocking a former president. They cried, "Where is the respect? Where is the decorum?" As if Trump ever respected anything. As if mocking Trump was some kind of unthinkable offense in a world where Trump mocked war heroes, disabled reporters, and entire countries. The irony was lost on them. But Ricky, he did not respond. He did not need to. His silence was louder than their outrage. While Tucker Carlson was melting down on cable news, Ricky was probably watching it on mute, laughing his head off. And that is what makes this feud so lopsided. Trump throws tantrums. Ricky throws punchlines. One man is obsessed with his image. The other does not give a damn. One is trying to prove he is still relevant. The other proves it effortlessly. This was not a battle. It was a blowout. Trump, cornered and furious, flailed in every direction. But every angry response was like throwing gasoline on a fire Ricky started with a single spark. And now, the flames were visible from space.
Eva Longoria and America Ferrera aren't just beautiful, talented actresses. They're also two people who your future president, Donald Trump, can't wait to deport.
This is where most people would have stopped. They would have said their piece, enjoyed the viral moment, and moved on. But Ricky thrives in chaos. He kept it going. With every Trump rant, he fired back with something subtler, something smarter. Oh dear. He tweeted, "I seem to have upset the walking Cheeto again. Someone get him his blanket." That tweet alone sent the internet into hysterics. Hashtags like hashtag Big Baby Trump trended for days. Meanwhile, Trump was spinning deeper into meltdown mode. The man who claimed to be the toughest president in history was now spiraling over a comedian's joke. It was embarrassing, not just for Trump, but for everyone still pretending he was some strongman leader. Ricky exposed what most already suspected. Behind the bluster, Trump is just a man with a fragile ego and an addiction to validation. And Ricky, he fed that addiction with jokes laced in truth. He turned Trump into a meme so powerful that even right-wing influencers had to pretend they had not laughed. It was the kind of cultural blow that lasts, not because it is cruel, but because it is accurate. And Ricky delivered it with a smile.
In America, it's that 32% who say they're the disenfranchised, forgotten. You want to go, no. What's happened is, when you've had privilege so long, equality feels like oppression. They're basically saying, some people want some of our equality.
Yes.
Well, of course they do.
Yes.
That's it.
Damn them, damn their eyes. And one of them ended up president. That's the ultimate offence.
I'm nearly numb to it now. I didn't even bother commenting on that tweet the other day where he said, if I had, even if that terrible shooting, I'd probably have gone in there even if I didn't have a weapon. That's what a 10-year-old says. I could beat up a lion. I could fight a lion if I had to.
In a fair fight, or my dad could.
Yeah.
My dad could wrestle a lion.
Exactly.
So, and then there was that picture of him with his own kid. He wouldn't even use his umbrella. He was walking up the aeroplane steps with an umbrella over his head, and his kid's getting rained on. But this is the man that would go in to protect other people's children.
Of course,
with his
this is a
bare
man
hands
who had to be helped down the stairs. Right, this is a man who was scared of a tame eagle.
Yes.
So this is not a brave man.
But he believes it, though, doesn't he? That's the weirdest
I don't know if he
thing.
does.
Do you not
I think he's got that childlike narcissism that he sort of, if he says it, it sort of might be true. But I think there's a bit of troll about him.
And there's no one in his life to tell him that he's being a wazzock.
He's never had to do or achieve anything in his life.
The brilliance of Ricky's attack was that it never relied on shock for shock's sake. It was precision guided. Each joke peeled back a layer of Trump's image until all that was left was insecurity. The tiny hands, the obsession with crowd size, the tantrums over SNL sketches. Ricky tied it all together and said what millions had been thinking. This is not a strong man. This is a child in a grown man's suit. And when Trump predictably lashed out again, calling Ricky a desperate leftist failure, it only reinforced the point. Trump is stuck in a loop he cannot escape, and Ricky is the one holding the remote. This is why comedians love Trump, not because they agree with him, but because he gives them endless material. He is a walking contradiction wrapped in ego and wrapped again in insecurity. And Ricky, he turned that into the ultimate roast, one that Trump keeps rewriting with every post. Every rally outburst, every desperate attempt to regain control of. A narrative that slipped away the second Ricky stepped on stage. At this point, Trump is not just the joke. He is the punchline that never ends.
This is a man who's, people fell for him because he was a good businessman. Well, actually, someone looked at it, right, and they worked out that if he'd have just put his acquired, inherited wealth on the top 50 stocks, he'd be $6 billion richer than he is. So he's effectively lost money over his...
There was a libel. Someone said he's not a real billionaire. He sued them and lost.
What makes this even more poetic is that Ricky does not need Trump, but Trump cannot. Stop reacting to Ricky, while Ricky's jokes become internet folklore. Trump is stuck refreshing his feed, fuming over the comments. He is losing sleep while Ricky gains followers, and the cycle continues. Every new clip, every remix, every stand-up callback deepens the wound, and now, even comedians who were never involved in the original roast are jumping in. John Oliver did a full segment. Seth Meyers went in twice as hard. Even Colbert, who can barely keep a straight face anymore, reenacted Trump's rage posts like they were Shakespearean drama. It is a comedy war, and Trump is the only soldier who thinks he is winning. Meanwhile, Ricky is sitting in his chair, tea in hand, letting Trump unravel himself. And that is the final humiliation, not the roast itself, but Trump's inability to stop reacting. He is a man being destroyed by his own obsession with being taken seriously. And Ricky, he has moved on to the next joke, knowing full well Trump will bring himself back into the spotlight without even being invited.